If you're a country seeking tariff relief, Dr. Don is ready to see you. While the market suffered from some side effects of taking tariff medicine, President Trump was seeking phenomenal offers and ready to deal. Vietnam just got their checkup. After getting slapped with one of the highest tariff rates, all it took was one phone call. And Trump says Nam is open to having zero tariffs. And if you believe Dr. Don's ready to operate on every country mooching off Uncle Sam, but as usual, Democrats in the media are flatlining and taking off their shoes like it's a code blue in the spin room.
Here is a shoe. It's my shoe, right? It is made in China. You talked about these luxury products.
They are.
Right, but you take your shoe off and see where it's made.
Yes.
Made in China, made in Vietnam. This is going to be 34% more expensive.
Made one of the dumbest decisions he's ever made as president, and that's saying a lot.
What Donald Trump has announced in terms of his tariffs is just plain dumb.
I began to understand how this is the only guy in America that could bankrupt multiple casinos.
So what's the recovery plan for the patient? Well, more U.S. manufacturing and jobs. This former auto worker says the tariffs are working and the so-called experts are all wrong.
Nobody was crying these crocodile tears when they were closing the Mound Road engine plant that Chrysler had in Macomb County, or the Romeo engine plant in Romeo, Michigan in Macomb County. But all of a sudden, now that we're trying to bring these products back, these components and these vehicles back to the United States, all of a sudden, all the so-called experts are saying it's going to plunge us into recession and be terrible for the economy.
And once upon a time, Democrats used to love tariffs.
It's also proper for advanced economies like the United States to insist on reciprocity from nations like China that are no longer solely poor countries, to make sure that they're providing access to their markets.
The average U.S. MFN tariff on Chinese goods coming into the United States is 2%, whereas the average Chinese MFN tariff on U.S. goods going into China is 35%. Is that reciprocal? The fact is that U.S.-China trade is a job loser.
Well, someone snuck into the country before the tariffs went up, Piers Morgan. Guess now we're stuck with you. How are you?
Well, you might be. I mean, you think you're joking. I turned 60 on Sunday, and I thought that would be the worst thing that happened to me this
Wait,
week.
I'm older than you?
Wow,
Yes.
really?
That's amazing.
By how many decades?
Boy, we are better looking in America. What?
No, I thought that would be the most difficult thing I had to deal with this week, and now I discover I'm so poor, having been in America for 1 week, I may not be able to afford to leave. So, Jesse, I thought I'd come and kip on your sofa. What do you think?
No, there's no room, Piers.
Yeah.
But how do you think this is affecting not just you, because I know it's all about you, Piers, but how do you think it's affecting people in this country? And when I say this country, I mean the U.S.
Well, look, unlike 99% of people on social media, I am 100% certain I have no idea if this is going to work. So everyone is either completely sure it's the greatest transformation thing we've ever seen in economic history, or a complete and utter disaster. And it seems to me like with a lot of things that Trump does, probably best to just take a beat, wait a bit, see how this plays out. In particular, see how all the countries respond. You're already beginning to see some movement with some of these countries racing to do a deal with Trump. If enough of them start to do that, you'll see the markets, who are basically like a bunch of lemmings running over a cliff at the best of times, they will roar back at the first sign that any of this appears to be working. However, and I think it's an important caveat, this is one hell of a roll of the dice, because if you're out there and you're already struggling from a cost of living crisis, and you've got savings and maybe you've got some stocks and so on, you are looking at this and you're worried, you're concerned for your family, concerned how you're going to afford stuff. And I think that Trump has got to look at this very carefully, and he's got to pull out the art of the deal in spectacular fashion. Now, I would just say I wouldn't bet against him. I look at what he's done with the southern border in 2 months, which has been little short of miraculous, and he's had hardly any credit for it. So I'm prepared to give him a little bit of time and a chance, and I think everybody should, to see if this works. But if in 2 months' time it's not working, the pain could be pretty enormous, and that could be presidency threatening. So the stakes are high.
It does look like a gamble to us, Greg, but the president doesn't see it that way at all. He seems relaxed.
No, because by the way, I mean, he actually said this was going to happen. The media acts like it's a big surprise, but he said, yeah, there might be a rough patch at the beginning of the stock market. He's like the pilot that says, yeah, it's going to be a little bumpy when we're going up, but then it's going to smooth out and we'll get you home safely. The media is the guy that sits next to you, and every single thud of turbulence goes, we're all going to die. Piers is right. It's like we're only getting a half opinion. The half opinion is look at the stock market go down. They don't say, well, it goes back up. I mean, I know Nancy Pelosi, net worth $270 million. Since the tariffs, she's lost $7 million, or about 2.5%. Do you think she's okay? I think so. She's going to get that money back in time for Botox season. Money moves around, and a half opinion is when an idiot tells you it just goes down. And for example, I couldn't tell you what the stock market was last week, the week before that, because you don't look at it. I'm perplexed by the notion that all tariffs are bad when countries put tariffs on our products. It's a tool that is used in specific environments. Not all environments, some. For example, if I were to punch Jesse in the face here, that would be bad. You don't beat up people.
Would it?
Well, for some, you know what? You've changed my mind. But if it were a boxing match, yes. So in a boxing match, you don't tell your opponent, hey, the right cross is off the table, because he's not going to agree with you. So in these negotiations, he's using an asset. Trump is using an asset that wasn't being used before. So he's making, again, an asset out of nothing. And he's introducing it to keep our trading partners off balance, so they make a deal on our terms. If you look at NATO, Greenland, the Panama Anal, they all woke up to the Trump alarm clock. The best part about this is they start negotiating with themselves first before they even get to the table. Trump, we don't even have to lift a finger, because uncertainty through action gets people moving in your direction even before you meet them. It's because it's all beginning at a standstill. It's inert. You're dealing with inertia. So it's already a win. We're already getting results.
Yeah, because Vietnam called and they want to drop their duties down to zero, Katie. So that guy's Nikes that he just held up, they're not going to go up at all.
Yeah, well, that's because Vietnam needs access to the American market to keep their country afloat, which is why they're calling and asking to negotiate. When President Trump made his trip to China in 2017, this was a topic of discussion. And I was actually there a week after he was in the country. And the number one complaint from the Commerce Department was there's no reciprocity here on anything, not to mention goods. We're trying to get into the Chinese market. We're not allowed to. We're not allowed to send the product without having a tax. So this has been an issue that the president addressed in his first term kind of as a test, and it worked out fine. So now they're going full force with his actual plan for tariffs, which includes a number of things outside of just what you saw happening on Wednesday. It's tax cuts, it's deregulation, it's spending cuts. And when you look at these Democrats who like Nancy Pelosi used to believe in exactly what he's saying, it shows that for so many years they were always willing to talk about this, but never willing to take the political risk to actually stand up for the people they said they were going to the mat for. I mean, Elizabeth Warren, this is a woman who has said that she's for the workers and she's for the little guy and she's for the people who are actually doing the work for the big corporations. And yet she's against any of this because Trump is putting his name on it. When you look at the people who were in the Rose Garden on Wednesday with their hard hats and their union membership, Elizabeth Warren wasn't there. It could have been a great bipartisan event, and yet it wasn't. Finally, the 401ks and Wall Street, the majority or half of the country is invested in some type of investment. So to say that it's not a big deal that people are looking at their investments, that it's not hurting. People do hedge home purchases, for example, against their investments, and they're worried. However, it's been 2 days since this was implemented. There's a broader picture here for what they have planned. So let's see what happens as these world leaders continue to call the White House and try to negotiate their rates.
Yeah, next week, Judge, it could bounce right back.
Yeah, and I think that what Piers was saying when you said it was a roll of the dice, and, we don't know whether it's going to work or it's not going to work. When you think about the guy who is throwing the dice, okay, you've got a guy who took care of the caliphate in a few weeks that was driving the world crazy. You got the southern border, as you say so accurately, is now nobody's crossing the border. We got a good job numbers today. We now have manufacturing coming back to the United States, $1 trillion he's gotten foreign investments into this country. So when you start reading all the tea leaves, he's setting up the game. Everything is starting to coalesce. And just today, what I read out from Vietnam, he's willing to say, hey, we need you. I'm willing to go to zero. Jeep and Ram is now selling all of their vehicles to Americans at employee prices. Ford is selling vehicles to Americans at employee prices. And then you've got the pausing of the minivans and Jeeps being made in Mexico and Canada because they realize that that's not going to work anymore, that they're going to have to make them in the United States. And, the uncertainty in the stock market, it isn't necessarily a negative. It can be an indication that things are going to work out. It's just that they're uncertain right now. And you got a president who's swinging for the fences. You got a president who's punching, as opposed to the other guy who put, $5 trillion into the economy and caused inflation that this president now has to deal with. And the American industries have been getting killed. And today we heard about the shrimp industry. I didn't know anything about it. But 94% of the shrimp in this country comes from Southeast Asia and Ecuador. And they don't have any of the protections. They're pond-raised, farm-raised, illegal hormones, antibiotics, slave trade, all that stuff. And yet we keep protecting these other countries, defending them, giving them money, and we're basically saying, sock us in the face again. No more. It's time for the American worker to survive.
No more shrimp dumping.
No.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.